this video I pretty much want to start with a haiku, an ode to summer. +29, my dress stuck to my butt. My favorite season. Moin, I'm Anna of Northern Germany. A survivor, a fighter, a writer, post-depression, a refugee in Germany. Please Anna, stop hitting microphone, which was not amazing already. And also a book lover and many things more. And welcome to this channel. It's +30 outside. I am melting, burning, and I'm also filming with closed window, although I wouldn't say that there is a lot of air coming through the window, but whatever. You know, if you had watched my videos, if you didn't, you're very welcome to watch them, that I advocate human rights and also mental health awareness, because yeah, I went through depression myself, agoraphobia and anxiety, and I still have issues. And oh, what are you doing here? I'm sorry, I have to kick this thing out because I refuse to work with it in the room. Bitch. Иди отсюда. Иди отсюда. That was the first wasp. So yeah, if you had watched my previous videos, you know that I have some kind of a serious depression in literature, and I think I will make it a bit wider. And today it's more like a mental disorder represented in literature. And you also know, probably, or if you don't know, I reiterate that I'm not a big fan of self-help books. I don't tend to finish them. I finished only The Notes on the Nervous Planet recently, only because it's Matt Haig, my favorite author. Otherwise, I really like the idea of us reading fiction and healing through fiction and finding interesting books on which you can look at and maybe recognize yourself in the character. And today I brought you this. Am I normal yet? Holy Bourne. If I'm pronouncing the surname incorrectly, I am so very sorry, but I know that she's British. And if you are questioning like what the hell is going on, yeah, it's a young adult book, yeah, it's about teenagers, but let's not label books like TikTok books, young adult books. So far, I know the only thing that probably I don't like about the books from the young adult genre, because this one is called young adult, but also Die Bücherdiebin, which is here, the book thief, is also young adult. And what I noticed, the ending is a bit abrupt. Otherwise, I have no questions to young adult literature. First of all, the story. How I pick books up for this type of videos. Sometimes I find books, sometimes I already read some of the books, sometimes books find me, and this one was brought to me by my friend Jofi, who is a psychologist. She is currently in her anarchist feminist era of her life, and I think I am in healing, advocating and other stuff area, and mental health awareness bringing, and I'm also in the self-exploring era. So yeah, when she brought this to me, I thought, maybe I can trust my friend, because yeah, we have similar tastes and we kind of have a small book club of the two of us. Sometimes other friends join, but generally we like exchanging books with my friend. And she brought this and I devoured it. I read this book like, I think I spent 3 days reading this book. It's very fast for me. I think last time it was the Midnight Library that I devoured that fast. So I think it's a sign. What we have here, we have teenagers, of course. And yeah, recently I wasn't the person who actually watched the teenage dramas or read about teenagers because I felt a bit too old for that. And yeah, I had this period in my life when I enjoyed watching teenage dramas when I was at university, I think. And recently I decided to rewatch 13 Reasons Why. It's a very sad story about suicide. The first season, at least. I don't remember the latest seasons. But I tried to rewatch it and all the conflicts appeared to be so far-fetched. So I didn't manage. But this one, we have something to discuss. Yeah, it's also like teenagers when you also watch teenage dramas or you are in a teenage drama right now. Yeah, everything seems final when you're a teenager, and I understand that. Yeah, so let's have a closer look at this book. And first of all, a couple of words about the author. It's a woman. It has a picture, and I think it's a very cool picture. When my books are published, I also would love to have such a cool picture. And she is a journalist, and I do appreciate when an author is also a journalist, because the language is a bit more flawless and it's a bit clear, especially if you're not a native speaker of English but you want to read a book in English. I recommend having a look at books written by journalists, because I don't know, somehow their language is more understandable, whatever. And she also participated in some charity work for young people, some hotlines, I suppose, a website. Also, she is engaged in battling against sexism and also about mental health problems, about relapse, and she really wanted to write this book about the relapse of the main character. Yeah, it's a bit of a spoiler, but it's also not, because we understand that it's moving in that direction, the plot of the book. And she also brings awareness to relationships between teenagers, and problems that might arise in case when you're mentally ill, or yeah, you have a mental disorder, because yeah, mentally ill, it's a bit a stigmatization. Yeah, so I think it's a very cool background of an author, and I think it also sounds trustworthy, right? Because I trust people with experience, and this woman had experience, I can believe that. So she wanted to bring the awareness to the fact that sometimes we relapse with our mental problems and how it interferes with our relationships, and also how people with mental disorders are also labeled, because sometimes we tend to label each other and sometimes even ourselves. I think I label myself as an anxious squirrel. Should I stay like this throughout the whole video? Maybe let's rather not. Then I will shortly describe the plot for people who are interested in reading that. Probably they didn't read it yet and they really want to read it. And I have to say in advance that there are 3 books in this series, and the main character of this book is Evelyn, or Evie. She is 16, and if you get attached to her, and it's quite possible because she is so cute and so relatable, be ready that the next 2 books are about other girls. So she has 2 friends, and the other books are about her other friends respectively, Amber and Lottie, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so what is going on in the book? Evie is 16 and she has OCD, and she had a very bad case of OCD in the secondary school, and now she is improving, her state is improving, and she's reducing her pills. And now, at that very moment, she wants to leave, to restart her living, because yeah, she's entering a new school basically, or she's entering college. She enters college and nobody really knows her there, and she craves this fresh start, because like we all have high hopes about fresh starts, don't we? Because yeah, it's always like, my school was horrible, but at university maybe it would be much better. It doesn't happen, then you think, okay, I will start work, or I will start developing and it will be much better. So hope is very important in our lives. And yeah, so she has a list what she wants to be in the new life, because she really desperately with a big D, she wants to be desperately normal. What is normal though? But yeah, she desperately wants to be normal. She wants friends who will not let her down. She wants a boyfriend. She wants to go to parties. Also, she has OCD. So technically she is not really normal according to standards. And yeah, so this book is mostly dedicated to mental health awareness, self-love, self-acceptance, the guilt that you feel sometimes when you're mentally ill, that you feel that like you let people down, or that you feel like you're not worthy, etc., etc. I think other books, like the book about Amber, from what I believe, I didn't read them yet, but Amber, her second friend, I think it's also about self-love and self-acceptance and confidence. And Lottie, another friend of hers, the third book is about feminism. So my dear friends, and spoilers begin now. And also I have to say, like, the trigger warning is a case of relapse, bad case of OCD. So if you're not planning to read the book, but if you're interested in what I'm saying, because probably you struggle with some conditions like OCD or agoraphobia, yeah, please be careful. Check on yourself if you're ready to listen to this, because yeah, the book is easy to read, but it's not always happy. Yeah, the main character is Evie, and I'm really in love with her, because I don't know, to me she's so painfully relatable, because I don't know, when I was reading the story, I just felt like it was me. My school wasn't a happy place, and I went there because I had to go there, and I don't really like remembering my school times. And I think I faced the same problems that Evie did, and also the problem was that I wasn't diagnosed. She was at least diagnosed, because sometimes it's also nice when you know what is going on, because I had dissociation. If you don't know what it is, it's a very unpleasant condition that is very hard to explain, very hard to describe, and you feel like you're going crazy, and basically you are you, but you feel like you're not you, you know? It's like very sticky. I'm also sticky because it's so hot. And also I have problems with my eyes, and technically with one eye, because sometimes I cannot focus with this eye, and of course it also had an impact. And yeah, for many teenagers it's very hard to adapt at school, and that's why they really hope for a change, like in the new place. If you're different, like physically or mentally, or if you're a teenager from LGBTQ community, all of this makes your existence at school very hard. Like, very hard. What the problem is that Evie has OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and a very, very unpleasant case of it. She faces it when she is still in her secondary school, and she basically doesn't know how to handle that, and also people around are judgmental, and she's also misdiagnosed because she cannot leave her room. She feels like bacteria are everywhere. She refuses to eat, so she has to be fed externally in the hospital, and she also washes her hands frantically till they bleed. And yeah, it sounds very bad, but we begin at a positive note because Evie is recovering, she is entering college, she is happy, she is reducing her medication. She really wants to be as everyone else. But also we know that the past doesn't go away, right? And also when you have mental illness, usually you are haunted by that. So she was. And also, if at least once in your life you faced a mental disorder, you know that it doesn't leave you completely. And in Evie's head, it's always like iron flies in her head, because she has this bad thoughts about like, what if I relapse? I will let everyone down. What if no one will date me? What if everyone finds out that I have mental problems? They wouldn't want to be my friends anymore. And she gains new friends right at the very beginning of the book, and they're very cool, and they're good friends, but she is scared to confess to them that she had a case of OCD and that she's on pills and that she attends a psychologist. So she lies to all of them that on Monday she just has a free period and she goes home. And yeah, I think it's also, we are all familiar with that if we had some kind of mental problems, because I used to think that I'm always sad. Who would want to talk to me? Who would want to be friends with me? Who would want to date me? Because I'm constantly sad. I'm not interesting. I'm ugly, etc., etc. You can add your complexes or your negative thought. Also, you're constantly self-analyzing yourself. You're searching for the signs that probably you're getting worse. And the same also happened to Abby. Like, if I'm getting worse, if it is going back, or if it's already back, what am I to do? I'm never going to recover. And it's very sad, it's very hard. So all these thoughts she's basically living through by herself, because she's also scared to share this with her parents and with her friends, because with her parents she doesn't want to disappoint them, and with her friends she's afraid of losing them. Yeah, basically Evie enters the college with a splash, with like banzai. She enters the college and everything everywhere at the same time happens. And also I have to warn you, if you're planning to find good boys in this book, you won't find them. No, like they are all pretty much, they're awful. Let's put it this way. I don't want to use any swear words. And yeah, but let's see maybe what we can learn from this book, because for me personally, it's the most important thing, and maybe for you too. So, the first lesson is friends. I think it's important in teenage years and throughout the whole life, because having friends is crucial. I don't have to state that. We all know that. And what happens to Evie? She loses her best friend from the secondary school, who supported her throughout her OCD breakdown. But suddenly she loses the interest in her friend, Evie's friend, because she's got a boyfriend. And the boyfriend is more interesting, more important. Of course, Evie blames everything on herself. And maybe it sounds strange, but we all tend to blame everything on ourselves when we are mistreated or when people leave our lives. And it's also normal, because maybe you don't have similar interests anymore, or anything else might happen, and it's so not your fault if something happens like this, or if you're dumped by your partner suddenly. And it's highly likely that something is going on in their head. And if they didn't want to speak about that directly, it's also their problem. Really, it's their problem. I'm not a guru, I'm still learning that myself. But I also want you to know that. Yeah, so then she's lucky to get her new friends, Lottie and Amber, but she's scared to tell them that she has OCD. And this one, should I even comment on that? Because trust is so important in relationships, in any relationships. And if you feel like you cannot trust your friends, like, do you really need these friends? Because I don't know, it's just so sad, and I think it's really important to have people who you can trust, who you can share with. So yeah, the next thing, Punkt Nummer etwas, love in general, and if you're straight, males. The variety of males, or the variety of bad-tempered males, or negative characters as males, is just tremendous in this book. Because, yeah, Evie, she's so desperate to dive into relationships. Never be desperate. Never be desperate. Please, we all make the same mistake. Never be desperate. But she's desperate, and first she meets one guy, and he has sex with another girl during their first date. Then, for the second time, she comes to a date, and her date comes there with his parents because he has agoraphobia. Also very nice. And the last but not least, a guy called Guy. He's really called Guy. Don't call your kids like this, really, don't upset me. And this guy, he calls her mental because she doesn't want to be slut next door, it is called. I don't want to offend anyone. I think this is how they call these girls in the book. And she doesn't want, she wants relationships. He calls her mental because she wants proper relationships with courting and dating and all this stuff. Interesting, yeah? But it all comes from feeling unworthy. Please know that you're worthy. You're worthy of love. You are not worthy of mistreatment. Nobody has a right to mistreat you. If you feel offended, if you feel upset by a person who you love, please don't allow them to do that to yourself. Or if you cannot figure it out by yourself, go to the center of the room and say, Godfather, Godfather, Godfather 3 times. I will appear and kick asses for you. I'm really determined to do that. Another thing that we can learn, probably it was not the original message of the story, because I suppose probably it wasn't, but this psychologist, she has a psychologist, right? Her name is Sarah, if I'm not mistaken, and her psychologist is a nightmare. She's incompetent. She is so unethical. And maybe, well, this book was out in 2015, maybe according to 2015 standards, she was amazing, but no. No, I don't want to stigmatize or demonize any kind of psychotherapy. Online, offline, I think you have equal chances to find really good specialists and awful specialists who will tell you, oh, don't be sad, do some sports and yeah, smile. I have examples like this, not personally, but my friend in France, that was a real physical psychologist. He went there and this is what the psychologist told him. What is going on here and what I want to comment on. I'm not a psychologist myself, but I think psychologists are not authorized to give comments on your life, such as, oh, I'm having a date. I don't think it's a good idea. No, I don't think it should work like that. I think a psychologist might say like, okay, be careful, remember about your state, blah, 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 remember what we discussed. But saying things like, I don't think it's a good idea, and then after, when it doesn't work out, saying, I told you. No, it's incompetent. I'm really sorry. And also, one of the treatments that she implemented for Evie is feeding her a chicken sandwich that was expired. I'm really sorry. Probably it's not Sylvia Plath level, the bell jar, but also the bell jar. Remember, like, I have a video about that, and recently my friend read the book, watched the video, and she said, like, do you know that it's still used, like, shock therapy in England? People can be forced in shock therapy, according to her. If some people from England find this video and can comment on that, I would really appreciate a comment. So yeah, unethical treatment, please, yeah, that's very important to know what a psychologist is allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do. My friend Jofi, who is a psychologist, she was going to prepare a post about that and she still didn't, but I think that's a message to her. I'm looking forward to that, Jofi. Then we approaching the actual relapse. The book is dedicated to the relapse. That was the original message of the author. She really wanted to speak about the relapse because it's not spoken about enough. She should really speak about that. And also meds that we are taking, and important meds, vital meds, and their impact on our bodies. Because OCD pills that Evie is taking, they have some side effects, like her feet are burning, as far as I remember, and many pills that we have to take, they have horrible side effects, and I think it's not spoken enough. And yeah, Evie is aggravating, her state is aggravating. She cannot even share because, yeah, she caged her mind, she's afraid of losing her friends, she doesn't want to disappoint her family. And of course, it all results in a massive relapse. She starts gaining new rituals, for example, to touch the poles of the streetlights, to get a message from her boyfriend, not boyfriend, guy. And yeah, so she starts washing her hands more frequently till she begins bleeding, and she has to wear gloves. Fortunately, it's winter. And I also, what amazes me in this situation, that her psychologist, like, she is literally aggravating, she's literally worsening, and her psychologist is like, Yeah, let's do some exposure by consuming some expired sandwich. How do you like that? Hmm? I don't. I don't like that. So yeah, as you see, it is very, very problematic, and it's also about trusting yourself or not trusting yourself, especially after you had some mental collapse and you just, what I thought, like, throughout my life, I thought that my brain let me down so many times. How can I trust it? Really? But yeah, actually, brain is trying to protect you from something. And yeah, you have to live this brain with this brain. You have to learn what it is trying to protect you from, and what you can do about it, and how you can calm your brain down. As always, a conclusion, what I want to say, what I extracted personally from this book, and if you don't want to read it, but if you feel like some support, I want to share what I learned from this book, let's call it this way. So, first of all, trust is very important. Trust is so important. So, like, yeah, I had already mentioned trust between teachers and students, doctors and patients, but also children and parents, friends and friends, partners, between partners. It's so important, because if there is no trust, how can we talk about anything else? And I think we should be open about the things that are going on in our head. And we should remember that it doesn't make us any worse. It doesn't make us unlovable. And the person who you share it with might hurt you, but it's just, yeah, the way it is, and you learn that you will not trust this person anymore. It's sad, but yeah, it is true. Another thing, you have a right to ask for support and to say that I'm not making it. I just cannot do this anymore. I need help. I need medical help. I need a hug. I need, I don't know, I need like some comforting words. But yeah, there is a chance that you won't get it, but in this case, don't blame it on yourself, because people have their own battles in their heads, and yeah, sometimes they are unfortunately incapable of giving comfort because they're in a bad place themselves, or sometimes they're not nice people, and we also have to take this into consideration, because it happens, and more often than we probably desire it to happen. Remember, please, you are not a burden. You are not a burden. Look at me. You're worthy. You're not a burden. I'm not a burden. Don't touch the microphone, Anna. You're not a burden. Nobody is a burden. Only a burden is a burden. And burden, what the burden is, you can look it up in the dictionary. Yeah, another thing. Education. Education is it's significant. It's the significant part of our life. Educating ourselves, educating others, speaking out about problems, about what is normal and what is not normal, and also learning about our boundaries and understanding, like, when I am hurt, what is unacceptable and what is not unacceptable for me, because we are all people who are alive. We have feelings, and when our feelings are hurt, or if we feel uncomfortable, we have a right to stand up and leave. Even in the process of sex, you know. You're allowed to do that. Say that the Godfather allowed you to do that if something starts complaining. I'm not interested what this person thinks. I don't know if I managed to describe this book structurally or structurized, let's say it this way, but I tried, because my head is a mess sometimes, and I'm learning to write structurally organized, and I'm learning to make videos that are not 1 million minutes long. Yeah, and I hope this video will help someone. Share it with your friends, share it with your children, teenagers maybe. Watch it by yourself. If you want to read my articles, they are in Medium. It's in the description below. They're for free. My articles are free. And if you feel like supporting me, the link is also below. If you feel like my work helps you a bit. And yeah, I think I will try to unstick myself from the floor and continue doing my stuff, because I'm also integrating in Germany still. And I wish you love and peace from Anna of Northern Germany, and I love you, and you're not alone. And Anna, don't touch the microphone. Tschüss.